Hello and welcome back to another tutorial. So in today's video we'll make the chain link scarf. So this is just a scrap yarn project, but you can decide to use one color of yarn, and it's made of several links depending on how long you want it to be. You can make more, you can make less, you can pick your colors, or you can work with one color. So let's just start the tutorial. For this tutorial you're going to need a category 4 yarn or any worsted weight yarn that you have, 4.5mm crochet hook, a darning needle, and your stuffing. So I'll be using a polyfiber for filling. To begin, you're going to start by making a slip knot, and then inside that slip knot you want to chain 15. So insert your hook, yarn over, pull through that loop on the hook, yarn over, pull through the loop on the hook, and continue until you have a total of 15 chains. So you already have 1, 2, 3. I'll add more and then I'll meet you when I have 15 chains. So when you have 15 chains, you're going to go in the very first chain. Do not bend your chain. So go in the very first chain and then insert your hook in that chain. Yarn over, pull through. Instead of joining it with a slip stitch, you're going to continue our first row. So you're going to start by working our first single crochet. So yarn over, pull through the 2 loops on your hook. Go in the next chain, insert your hook, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 2. So that's our second single crochet. So I'm using US terminology. If you're in the UK, this is a half double crochet. So continue placing 1 single crochet in each stitch until you reach the very end of your chains. After working through to your last chain stitch, you're going to go in the very first stitch here, go through both loops and work our first single crochet, second round, and then continue placing 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way without joining it with a slip stitch. So I want to go through every single crochet stitch, and since you're working on a spiral, we won't see the start of every round. So what you're going to do, you're going to continue placing 1 single crochet in each stitch all the way until you have a total of 50 or 51 rounds. And in order to count rounds, let me just show you one tube that I've completed. So this is an example of a tube that you're going to make. So just continue placing single crochet in each stitch all the way around without joining it until you have 50 single crochet rows. And to count the number of rows, you want to count these bumps here. So these are our first round, second round, third round, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, and you count until you have your 50th at the end. And then I'll show you how to ensure that you end your stitch closer to where we started our first round. So continue, and if you have a total of 50 rounds, I'll meet you to show you how you should end your last round. So I went ahead with my chains and I have a total of 50, 51 or 50 rounds in total. And what you're going to do, you're going to ensure that your first round here, it's protruding outside. If you can see, it's not in line with other stitches. So you want to ensure that it's in the same line, approximate with your last stitch. It doesn't have to be exact, so that when you fold it to join the 2 ends together, it will align like this, the last stitch with the first stitch. So when you have your 50 rounds and you've completed your last round, you're going to pull your yarn through that last stitch. You don't have to chain 1, just pull your yarn through, and then you're going to fill it with our fiber. So grab your stuffing, and then you want to fluff it a bit before inserting it. And using beads by beads, you're going to insert it in our tube. Just insert it in that tube and then push it with your finger. You can as well use your crochet hook to ensure that it reaches in the middle part. Take some more and add. So you want to repeat this until you're satisfied with the size or the thickness of your tube. I don't like mine too thick, so I'll just put in the right size or the right amount of my fiber filling. So when that is done, you want to grab your two ends and then whip stitch it all around. So go through the last or the second stitch after your last stitch. So this is our last stitch. You want to go in this next stitch right after the last one and then join it to the very first stitch in our first round. Then you want to continue with stitching the other stitches until you reach the end of your round. So after you've stitched some stitches, you're going to twist it to access the other stitches easily. So you can see the stitches that we've already whipped together, the way it looks neater. So go ahead and do that all the way, and then I'll show you how to join the next chain link. So at the end of your whip stitches, you can go ahead and weave in your tail inside your work just to stop it from unraveling. And then when you're satisfied, you can go ahead and cut it. When you're sure it won't unravel, just go ahead and cut it. And then your first chain link is done. So this is how it will look like. Now go ahead and make another chain link. Just start with a foundation chain, so 15. Join it with a single crochet and then continue with single crochet in each stitch all the way without joining it with any slip stitches until you have 50 rows or 51 rows. So if you had 50 rows in your first chain link, you're going to maintain that number of rows all the way until you have your desired number of your loops or your links. To join the second chain link to our first one, you're going to insert it inside that space or inside that loop, and then you join it with whip stitch all the way around. Always remember, when you start your whip stitch, you're going to go in the next stitch of your last round and then join it to the first stitch of your first round. Then continue working whip stitches all the way until you're done with your whip stitch join. So go ahead, do that, and then I'll meet you when you're through. So I've gone ahead and finished my 2 chain links, and I'll just repeat the same procedure until I'm done with my chain links. I don't know the number that I need at this moment, but I'll go ahead and work them, and when I'm through I'll show you how it looks like, and then I'll tell you the details on the number of chain links that I've used. So if you're using one color, you can go ahead do that all the way around. When you're using different colors like me, you can go ahead and change colors after every chain link.